ready for the next episode. Can't wait to get home and turn my TV on. I'm ready for the next episode. Got my snap shoes off, no remote control. I'm ready for the next episode.
Hi guys, welcome back to next episode with Nick.
And I'm Jess.
And today we're going to continue our conversation about cross. And today I really want to explore grief and its role in the season. If you think about it, like the serial killer was one plot line, the stalker was another plot line. I feel like grief was also a plot line this season.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
No, I agree. We see like Alex Cross's grief is such a big part of what's going on right now that it does also feel like a character. But there are other people grieving in the show as well.
Yes. So my first question to you is, Alex is a forensic psychologist, right?
Right.
Why is he running from therapy to help deal with his wife's death?
Have you ever heard like doctors and nurses make the worst patients?
Yes, I have heard that.
You know, and I'm like, that's what it is. Sometimes it's so hard when you're the helper to go get help. Mm-hmm. And I also think that's coupled by the fact that Alex is really smart and he's like the best in his field. It's kind of, there's a little bit of arrogance there, like who can help me, you know, and trusting someone else when he's like at the top of his field. But yeah, he absolutely needs to go to therapy and he is running full speed from it.
And so do you also think, because his wife was murdered, and at the time of his wife's murder, he has no idea why she's murdered. Later on, he comes to the understanding of it. But he has a huge amount of guilt about the fact that his wife was murdered and the fact that he could not protect her. Do you think, in a sense, he feels like he deserves that pain? And could that also be a reason why he doesn't seek help? Because he feels like he deserves that hurt and pain and shame that he feels?
Absolutely. And I actually think that that's pretty common with grief too. Like to blame yourself, even when it's not realistic to blame yourself. I think that is normal. And that's definitely a place people go. But also, yes, he clearly, the guilt is around him not being able to protect her and him seeing himself as a protector just in general. Like he's supposed to be able to protect everybody. You know,
Which is unrealistic.
It is unrealistic, but I think that's also why he stays as a police officer and not as a part of it never goes to the FBI, even though he's clearly well qualified for it. I think being a police officer on the ground in the community feels more like he's protecting people.
Yeah. And his grief is palpable. Like the pain that you see him experience through this series. Kudos. Aldous Hodge, he did a great job. He really did a great job. And like, I was so like sucked in. So for example, there's a scene where he's calling the radio station and he's talking to, would you consider that the DJ?
Yeah.
The host of the show, and it was like his wife's favorite show, and they used to call in and listen to music together, and he's talking to the DJ about his wife, and I'm like, that's the closest thing to a therapy session you have had. But at the same time, like, when I tell you that scene was ripping my heart, like the pain, the pain that he is in, I don't know how he's functioning. And he's not, in a lot of ways, honestly.
In a lot of ways, he's not.
He's not functioning in a lot of ways. So when the show picks up after the murder of his wife, it's a little bit over a year has passed. And I feel like he has really, honestly, not dealt with her death at all, other than he has accepted the fact that she's really dead.
Yeah.
So he's not in denial, but he has not, I feel like, dealt with her death in a way that is productive at all. And so you find out things like he was trying to solve his wife's murder himself, which, you know, is a no-no. Just like, you know, a doctor doesn't operate on their family members. He should not be investigating his wife's murder. And in the course of that investigation, he ends up actually assaulting an innocent man who he's convinced was the one that killed his wife.
Or had some
And
information on her or something like that.
right. And he assaulted this man, and his best friend,
Mhm.
Tujon, who's his partner, turned him in. And that speaks to the person that Tujon is. Here's the thing. I know that Alex Cross is an amazing detective, and I understand that he is also the main character of the show, but Tujon is an amazing human being. He
Mhm.
just is. He just is, because not only is he a great friend to him,
Mhm.
and he's like good to his family, and he's good at his job, he has integrity, but he also has a level of emotional intelligence. You like
Mhm.
I know we're going to dive deeper
Okay.
into their relationship at another time, but when I found out that he turned him in,
Mhm.
I'm like, man, I like this character, because one of the things, like, whenever you see like men friendship portrayed on TV,
Mhm.
a lot of times it's like supporting them in their rights and in their wrongs, and not necessarily holding them accountable.
Yeah.
And so for his friend to hold him accountable and feel like, hey, this is for your betterment, is amazing, but Alex just did not see it that way. Alex understood, I feel like, intellectually what he was doing and how
Yeah.
he was doing it,
Mhm.
and he kept bringing it up. Anytime he got mad at Two
Yeah.
John, he like, you turned me in. I'm like, y'all were just eating fries together and y'all were happy as clams, and now you got your finger in his face. Like, you knew that man turned you in.
Mhm.
Anytime he gets mad, he throws it in his face, and I just think that that's part of his grief, has him being so irrational.
Well, okay, I actually think that, well, yes, I don't disagree with what you just said, but I also think it speaks to the thing that we were talking about last time about how complicated the relationship with Black people and the police are. And the reason why I say that is because Two John turned him in thinking that they were going to force him to go to counseling, which you can do, which the police could have done, and your job can do if whatever you're going through is affecting your job. And that's what
Mm-hmm.
his expectation is. But no matter how good you are still Black. And so instead of that, they took him out for 6 months.
Right.
They gave him a 6 month suspension. So that sentence that they got. So when Two John is turning him in, he's thinking that this is also going to get him some help and
Mm-hmm.
really push him into getting some help. And at that time, he definitely needed it and did not need to be out there doing police work.
Right.
He did not know how harsh a sentence that they were going to give him, and they definitely brought the hammer down on him unnecessarily. Like, now, do I think he
Right.
needed time off? I do. I still think you could have did that without a suspension. You could do. There's so many things you can do to, like, also make sure he gets into therapy, but also take some time off, but it not be like a mark on his record. And they didn't do that.
I agree. I think that, one, I feel like whatever they did, their mandatory therapy should have been a component, and I feel like he should have been psychologically cleared before he could come back to work. But I
Agree.
think that they could have
Which,
like taken him out of being a detective and had him do something in another capacity, maybe more community policing, where he's going out and he's talking to kids about different stuff. I feel like, because his job is really important to him,
mhm,
I think that 6 months off of his job is really kind of cruel. I think that they could have he would have been better serviced. Just because, like you said, he wants to feel like he's protecting people. I
mhm,
think keeping him like within the community, working with the community, but also receiving therapy.
mhm,
And he should have been psychologically cleared before he went back to work. I,
yeah.
I think that to me made a
Yeah.
better sense than just, okay, just go sit down for six
For six
months.
months. And I agree with you. And when you do the mandatory therapy, like, there you can stipulate it, and it's usually stipulated. Like, when there's levels to this, so you can say mandatory therapy and you continue to work because we still think you're safe. We think you're
Hmm.
unsafe. You got to sit down for a month mandatory therapy, and then you do have to be cleared to go back to work. That is part of that
Hmm.
process. You know what I mean? There's so
Right.
many options that they could do, and they just went to penalizing him,
Right.
which again is the whole issue with how they treat Black people.
That is very true. Yes, it
Mhm.
is. It's not a rehabilitation system. It's very much a penal system.
Mhm.
Yeah, that makes sense. But like, so even with that 6 month suspension, he still did not. He still has not dealt with his grief at all. And I feel like it's to his detriment in
Mhm.
so many ways.
Yeah.
I feel like it makes his job harder. It makes him more vulnerable,
Mhm.
because he has a hair trigger now. What do you want to say?
I was gonna say, but you notice, like in the like when after his wife died and he's in the police station, and like right before he interacts with the white supremacist,
Mm-hmm.
he's filling out a voluntary
Yeah.
leave form. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, I saw that, and because the chief says to him, "Hey, I know you want to take a leave of absence, but no, we need you on this case." And at that point, I did not know about the 6 month suspension.
Hmm.
I'm not saying that information wasn't out there. Like I sometimes I miss stuff, so at that point, I did not know about the 6 month
But he'd already been
suspension.
off 6 months. Yeah.
Right.
But so he's requesting, or at least tried to request.
Right. And so I thought that that was really, really interesting
Hmm.
because they're like, oh, no, you can't take this leave of absence. I wonder what he was going to do with that leave of absence. My feeling is he was just going to be hunting for his wife's killer. That I can't prove it. I don't think he was taking that leave of absence to like, let me go and get in therapy, get in somebody's program and better myself. I think he was like, you know what? I need to find out. I need to figure out who killed my wife.
That,
That's what I feel like.
that sounds more like Cross, honestly. That sounds like him. Yeah.
And so, one of the things, like I talked about, the fact that, he's a mental health professional, yet not only is he not like in counseling, as far as I know, his kids are not in counseling either.
That is a good point. Yeah, everybody need to be in therapy.
Yes, but not only that, like he's ignoring his kids' mental health issues. Like he has his grandmother who is helping as caretakers, of the children. And she is constantly bringing things to the forefront saying, "Hey, your children are having these issues. Your children are having these issues." And
Hmm.
his grief is wrapped around him so tightly. It's even though you see him fathering his kids and he has a love for his kids,
Hmm.
it's like he is so caught up in his grief that he's not even making sure that the kids are mentally okay. They're
Yeah,
like he's okay with making sure they're physically okay. They're physically okay, they're well provided for, you know what I mean? But he's
yeah.
not meeting he
Their
can't.
emotional needs.
No, he can do happy stuff with them. If you notice, he
Hmm.
can do like playful stuff with them. But anytime like he has to deal with like conflict with them or something bad is happening, it's like
Hmm.
he can't go
Can't
there
take it.
with them. And I'm just like, sir, okay, you don't want to deal with your grief for you, but what about your children?
Hmm.
Once again, it's
Yeah, that scene where the little boy says, "You lost mom, but we lost mom and you." I almost
yes,
lost it.
yes,
Almost
yes.
lost it.
Yes, because that honestly perfectly sums up where Alex is emotionally.
Hmm.
Like and I don't know if it's like if he's trying to protect his kids in a certain sense by creating that distance. You know what I'm saying? Like making it, I don't know do you understand what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
he's putting emotional distance between him and his kids. So if something happened to him, he feels like it would hurt less. Of course, we know it wouldn't,
yeah.
but I'm wondering if that's what he's trying to do. But
Hmm.
he
He just
definitely,
doesn't have it. I think he doesn't have the ability, the bandwidth. I don't think he just does not have it to give
but
them.
he's still working.
Hmm.
But you're hunting a serial killer, and then at some point you're also hunting a stalker. But it's so hard for you to have a conversation with your child where you have like patience.
Hmm.
You
I think
know,
he thinks that he's not going to get past his grief until he finds her killer, until he solves the murder, and that's why that's the forefront of his mind.
but I feel like once again he's a mental health professional and he knows a lot of times that is not enough. That doesn't cure the hurt.
It's still different. Like the whole point though of going to a mental health professional is someone outside yourself. Like even like it's still hard to see you. You know,
Right.
that's why you go to somebody else. So yes, he probably would tell that to somebody else perfectly. But to himself, no.
Yeah.
He's not there. He's
Because
actually the one going through it.
he had a conversation with his friend Tujon, and Tujon was like, if you had a patient to say what you just said, you would send them to the hospital. Like Two
Mhm.
John's like, you are not okay. And
Mhm.
he does not sugarcoat stuff, even though he calls him sugar.
Mhm.
And that I love that so much.
Did I
That
miss
Two
that?
John's nickname for him is sugar.
I missed that.
Watch it again.
Oh, girl,
He only
you
refers to
gotta tell me to
him,
watch
if
out.
you pay attention, he only refers to him as sugar. And it's the cutest. It is they don't explain why, but
Mhm.
I like when I tell you the fact that Two John has a personal nickname for him and his name and he calls him sugar. It's just I love it so much. They are so cute. But so we talk about Alex's wife's murder, but honestly, Alex's trauma started very young
Yeah.
because his mom was on drugs and a prostitute.
It sounds like it. Both his parents died young when he
Yeah,
was
they
young.
both died. I think his mom and dad both died tragically when he was very very young.
Mhm.
They didn't die at the same time. They died separately. I think his mom died first and then his dad. And
Yeah.
so he was raised by his grandmother, who he calls Nana Mama.
Mhm.
And so even though I really think that Nana Mama did her best
Yeah.
and raised him well, that pain, I think those pains
Mhm.
never really healed properly. And I think that's why he has like that desire to like help and to
Mhm.
protect because he maybe feels like his parents weren't protected,
Yeah.
and but it's to your detriment. Like
Mhm.
you should have got that stuff fixed. You
Yeah.
should have got that stuff fixed. And it wasn't a problem before because he was so happy. Like
Mhm.
he was someone who married his dream girl, the
Mhm.
love of his life, his soulmate, and they had like, children. He had the career that he wanted. They were incredibly happy. And so it was very easy, I feel like, to push down those feelings.
Mhm.
But now with his wife being dead, being murdered, everything is bubbling up.
Yeah.
Everything is bubbling up.
And this probably also speaks to why he's grieving for so long. Because I think a lot of people are really pushing him to get over it. And he's just not there yet. Because
Mhm.
like you're dealing with the grief of your wife. It's probably bringing up from the grief of things from the grief of your parent. It's a lot of stuff that he's dealing
Let me ask you this. Like,
with.
can we be fair? I don't know that people are telling him to get over it. I
Hmm.
think that what people are telling him to do is to get help
Hmm.
and to acknowledge where he is mentally and where he needs to be. I don't think anybody's like, your wife died, get over it. But they're like, hey, you got kids and your kids need you and you're
Hmm.
not functioning well enough. You need to fix that. You need to figure it out.
Yeah.
Hey,
I feel like there's an air of you've been grieving too long.
I don't see
Hmm.
that because I don't think that anyone expects him to
Hmm.
stop grieving. I think that they expect him to get help so that
Hmm.
at some point, yes, maybe he can stop grieving. Because this is what, and I want to really talk about this more in the next episode. But the fact that he is grieving as, and he's just like raw and an open wound, but he is somehow dating.
Hmm. Yeah. Hmm. But you know what? And I know everybody has brought that up. And I know that that is incredibly common for men. And I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying it's common. Most men who lose a spouse start dating again within 6 months.
And that is honestly, that's not an issue. My specific issue
Mhm.
is that he is still hung up on his wife in the sense that I feel like the woman he's currently dating is competing with a ghost. And that is the issue
She
because
is.
a lot of
And that's the
times
worst one. That's the worst kind of competition to be in.
a lot of times when a lot like men who especially have been happily married,
Hmm.
they will move on fast because they don't know how to live without companionship.
Hmm.
But they don't bring their like ex
Absolutely.
wife or their deceased spouse into the relationship with them. But it's like he's having a threesome
Oh God.
or like the go like he's like got a ghost as a side chick. Like he is very much still and a
Mhm.
heavy emotional relationship with his wife,
Mhm.
who is not alive,
Mhm.
while dating this other woman. And that is
Mhm.
a problem.
I
Now,
don't know if what you're describing is common or what's healthy. Because while I would say yes, when men are able to move on and like their wife passed and they're able to have a new relationship in a way and not bring their wife into it, I think that is healthy. Again, I don't know that that's what's common because men also will use women to heal.
right.
You know.
So we have a friend um who passed away during COVID.
Hmm.
And when her husband got remarried, it kind of broke my heart a bit
Hmm.
because it was like, oh, she's really gone.
Yeah.
But one thing I know about them,
Hmm.
they were in love.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they had a beautiful relationship. They were so in love.
Hmm.
And so when I see him now with his new wife, and he looks
He
happy.
does. He does look
He
happy.
looks so happy. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? And I'm like, you know what? I'm glad that he has that,
Hmm.
because honestly, that's what she would want for him. She wouldn't want him to be miserable because she loved him
No.
just that much.
Yeah, and I can't remember the details, but I also don't think he definitely has, remarried and is in a different relationship. But I feel like he gave himself some time. I don't feel like he did that immediately.
I no. I'm not saying that he did that immediately.
Right, but I'm saying, and I say that to say I think that's the difference. Like,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? Because
I
like his
don't know
relationship
what
with the
I don't
new.
know what the time frame was.
Right. But I can't remember the details, like I said, but I feel like he gave himself some time. And while, because we know that first relationship and we knew them as a couple, it's kind of a little bit hard to watch. But from what I've seen of him in the new relationship, it looks very different than his first one. But he does look really happy. But to me, again, that's a sign like you didn't try to recreate what you had before. You have a
Right.
unique and different relationship with this new woman. But
Hmm.
again, he gave himself some time, I think. If
He
I'm
did. I
remembering
don't
correctly.
know. I don't know how much time,
I
because
want to say
time
like
moves
3
differently. But
years.
but when I saw it,
Yeah.
it surprised me.
Hmm.
But it was more so like I said, for me, that was a sign that, oh my gosh, like, no, she's really gone.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And so I don't it definitely wasn't immediate, but I can't tell you realistically like what the time frame was, but it wasn't like a disrespectful amount of
No,
time.
it wasn't.
But
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, I can't dating someone, like seeing someone in a relationship like after their spouse has died, like it can be tricky, even
Hmm.
when even when things go good, like, you know
Hmm.
what I'm saying, like I said, initially I was very shocked, and then as I really like got to like see their relationship, I was really really happy for him.
Hmm.
Sad for me because my friend is gone, but happy that he doesn't have to spend the rest of his life alone, because he doesn't deserve that. He was a great
Great
husband
guy
to
to,
her.
yeah, absolutely.
So the fact that that Alex Cross is dating
Hmm.
while still not over his wife's death, and not even over his wife, like his wife's death is just a huge, raw,
Very present
painful
part of his life.
thought. It's in every breath he takes.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand how he's dating it. I don't understand it.
And this is the thing. It's not, again, not thinking of what would be healthy, but thinking of what you see men do. And I do think a lot of men use women to heal, whether or not they consciously know that that's what they're doing. That's what they do. Whether
Mhm.
it's just that I need to feel better, so this little feed of my ego gives me a few minutes of reprieve from what I'm feeling from losing my wife. Whether
Mhm.
it's, for most men, I think it's a lot. It's function. This is not the truth for Cross, because he does have his grandmother in the house. But like for a lot of men, the reason why I say they'll just move on and not be over it is because they want the functional things done that their wife does.
Mhm.
But I
Yeah.
don't think that the majority of them do this, the healthy way. But they do
Mhm.
move on quickly. Not move on, because move on is the wrong word. But they do start dating and get into relationships quickly.
Mhm.
That's typical. That's more typical for men than women that lose a spouse.
So I'm going to say, like, we talked about there are other people grieving in the show, and so I want to talk about them. I'm going to say there is no good example of how to grieve in the show. There's no good example.
I'm thinking.
Unless you want to use like the children and Nana Mama, I feel like they grieve in a way that's fine, but
Oh yeah, that's true. Nana
they
Mama.
grieve. I
She
feel like
also she
they
lost her daughter. At the end of the day, she lost her. Well, I assume that was his mom's mom. I don't know if his mom or his dad's mom, but she lost her child.
no. Oh, you're talking about Nana Mama. Oh, when
Nana
she
Mama.
lost her daughter.
Yeah.
Oh, I really wasn't talking about. I wasn't. You know what? Because we really don't get to see or experience that much of it. I
No, but
meant like
she's
her
functional.
dealing with
Like you know,
Maria's
like,
death.
I know what you're talking about, but I'm saying she has lost a child. I don't know if she's
She has.
the mother of his mom or dad, but she's lost
I
a
think it's.
child.
I feel like it's his mom. It's
Yeah,
mom, but I can't
I
prove
assume
that.
mom, but like I don't know. And so you know, there are people who never get over losing a child. She's raised another child very functionally, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and she's you know, now raising her grandkids very,
I'm
very
actually
functionally.
tired. But those are her great grandkids.
Oh shoot, she is short. Those are her great grandkids. That's what I felt for her. I was like, dang, when you gonna get out of raising kids?
Right.
When you gonna
Right.
get your break?
She must have been a young mama also.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, oh, she was
And I
pretty.
think
They
her
pretty cool
daughter was
mom.
a young mom too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm like, dang, you raising? Yeah, you're right. That's the great grands that she's raising. He's the
Right.
great.
Yeah. He's the grandson.
Ooh.
So I guess yes, you can say that Nana Mama and the children,
Mm-hmm.
show an
We're
acceptable
doing it.
path to grieving
Absolutely.
because you know what, like they are still dealing with their mom's death, but I feel like they kind of face it more head on,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and they try to honor their mom a lot. If you
Mm-hmm.
see, like, when the son, is his name Damon?
Girl.
I think so. We're gonna call him Damon. He looked like a Damon was wearing like the mom's scarf,
Oh,
wanting to wear
yeah.
her watch to the recital.
Yeah.
They talk about her favorite music a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they try to honor their mom and keep her memory alive. So I think that's honestly a very
Yeah.
healthy way to grieve.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
So I want to talk about Ed Ramsey, who spends a lot of time in the show telling everybody that his mom is dead, and that woman is very much alive.
Very much alive. Mm-hmm.
And so when you find out that his mom is alive and they go visit the mother, you find out that she lost her daughter when her daughter was a child. And now we agree that Ed killed her, right?
Yeah, I think he killed her.
Okay.
Definitely killed her.
Because he said he would do anything to be an only child.
Mm-hmm. He killed his sister.
Now, when Alex discusses like his sister's death with Ed Ramsey, he talks about how because of the sister's death, the mom withheld love from him. But if Ed killed the sister,
It
he
makes
was
sense.
already having issues before that.
Well, and the thing is, I think the mom knows that he killed his sister. Oh,
Right.
yeah. So then that makes more sense as to why she would withhold love. So he didn't kill her. You know what I mean? Like he was already having, yeah, he's already having issues before. He was already on this kind of sociopathic path before because he started with killing the animals. He killed the sister. And then how does the mom doesn't seem to turn him in, but she seems to know that he did it because she says, has he done something else bad?
Right. I feel like she treats him as if he's possessed by a demon and she can pray it out. Like she
Probably.
gets uber religious.
She is real religious.
You know what I mean? And I feel like she's like, oh, it's right, because it's just the devil, And so, but she still lives with like the daughter's death, and it stops her from like functioning.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. We know, that she was functioning and she withheld from him. And so once again,
Well, that's why I think Outcross's analysis is wrong, where he's a bit off because he doesn't have the information that he killed the sister. He's
right,
thinking that he's become a serial killer because the sister just died and afterwards
right,
the mom withheld love. But no, he killed the sister. And then after that, the mom is dealing with both the grief and death of her child, who she kind of makes the sister seem like she's like a saint, and then maybe because she died or what have you. and the fact that her other child killed them.
Right. I
So,
wonder
mhm.
though if she already knew who he was before he killed the sister, like knew that he had his issues and probably like
I think
had a
she knew
better
he was murdered.
relationship with the daughter. You know what I'm saying? Because he said that his mom never knew about the birds. Remember he said that?
Oh, she never knew about the birds. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he said that. He said that to him, like, oh, my mom never knew about the birds.
Oh, maybe she still picked up on something wrong with this boy.
Yeah, you know your child.
Mm-hmm.
You know your child, and I think she picked up on an evilness in him, and
Mm-hmm.
so probably preferred the sister,
Mm-hmm. Which
and
makes
that,
it even worse.
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And so it's chicken
But
and
then he took
egg.
her away.
You know, Alex thought that he was created, and no, he was born.
He was born, and I think that was important for Ramsey to let Alex know. No, I was born like this.
Right? He's like, no, this is me, baby.
Mhm, this is
Nobody
who I
control
am.
my destiny but me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Bird Feet McGee.
Not bird feet, McGee.
So once again we see like the mom mishandling her grief, because if she was functional she would have turned her son in for killing her daughter, but like you're trying to pray the evil away,
Mm-hmm.
and not, I guess, not want to feel like you've lost both of your children maybe.
No, because I don't think she cared nothing about that boy. I don't. I think one of the things that Ramses does, I think I added S's to his name, but Ramsey does, is that he preys on like social kind of capital, even from young. So
Mm-hmm.
he's blackmailing the kid who knows that he's killing the birds into being quiet by not exposing his father's affairs. And
Right.
while his mother, I don't think she cares about that boy at all. She's very religious. And
Mm-hmm.
what would it look like for her son to have killed her daughter and be
Mm.
this evil demon seed?
You're right. You're right. You're right.
He's very good at playing those social games.
Yeah. And he's also the blackmail king.
Yeah, that's. I mean, he's like basically a social strategist for politicians. Like I think he runs campaigns or something like that.
I'm gonna be real with you. I could never figure out what he did. Like, I
Yeah,
just knew he knew everybody's
he's in
business.
politics.
Yeah, I knew he was in politics because he was working with the congresswoman or something.
Right.
But
He
I
influenced
could
a
not.
congresswoman, and then he said something about running somebody's campaign.
Okay, I never could understand what he was doing,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, I just know he got a lot of money and he
Mm-hmm.
has no scruples.
None. Not a scruple to be
And
found.
I'm like, okay,
And
that's
him
why
has
he got
never known a scruple.
because he is scrupulous.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I was really upset that the congresswoman did not get exposed.
I was too. You know what? You know what? I'm gonna say this. This make me want to punch her in the face a little bit. You know who your husband is. You know that, like, in this, the dirt that Ramsey has on the congresswoman is that her husband is a pedophile.
Mm-hmm.
Why were you trying to have a child with him?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Why you were going to extra lengths to have a child with this man that you already knew who he was? That really, I'm like, yeah, that she didn't get. I'm still hoping that maybe she will get exposed in season 2 because we still got that FBI
Kyle,
agent is going to get all the dirt. She's going to get that information from Bobby Trump.
right? Yeah, that I was like, okay, hold on, because this is my so the congresswoman. There's a scene
And
in the
she's
show.
Speaker of the House.
She Speaker of the House.
Mhm.
That's crazy. That's
Yeah,
even crazier. So there's a scene where she's at Ed Ramsey's birthday party. Mind you, Ed Ramsey is the serial killer, and people don't know he's a serial killer. But he has this huge birthday party every year. So she is at his birthday party. She has snuck away from everybody, and she's smoking a cigarette. First of all, that made me mad. Why are you smoking in that man's house? That is wild. Wild behavior.
but like where
Smoking.
she was outdoors.
I don't think she was.
He was. Because think about it. When she sees the girls, like he's got one of those indoor outdoor, like she was like in like an outdoor space.
I
Because like
thought she was in like an indoor garden or something.
it's a garden, which is why I assumed it's outdoors. Because you think about it, the girl he's kidnapped, Shannon, has run up to the glass and she can't get out. So you know what I
Right.
mean? That is outside. She's trying to get outside, and the woman's on the other side of the glass.
So wait a minute, because I just want to make sure you understand. Like, she literally is smoking a cigarette, and she sees like the woman that he's kidnapped, and she's one, she stays there and watches the two of them
The
fight
whole
it out.
thing, the whole interchange.
As soon, like, if you were not going to get this woman out, I would have ran.
Not
And
to
the fact
mention, you got the police chief upstairs.
that's true.
You
That
got
is
her
true.
in the house.
But she knows that she can't expose Ramsey because he knows too much about her.
Really expose
But
her.
why did you stay at the party? If you were outside
Mhm.
because you were smoking a cigarette, why did you go back inside the house? Because I would have gotten in my car and left. You're inside the part. You went back inside in the
Mhm.
party and you're like so scared, like you're shaking and stuff.
Mhm.
Why
To
did
those
you not
kind
go
of people,
home?
social conventions and social norms are a lot more important than they are to us. Think of who she is. She is a politician. It would have looked away if she had left and therefore possibly angered Ramsey. You know what I mean? Like she's like, okay, I'm not gonna say anything and I'm gonna play this part. That's a signal to him that I'm not gonna be a problem.
Like that's wild to me. I'm
Hmm.
telling you that when
That is what he's good at.
like she could have picked up like she's in a garden. She could have picked up a rock and broke the
That little
glass. Like
frail woman was not going to do nothing to him, and he is not this huge, big, strong, strapping man. She just was not about to do nothing to him, and she
but the crazy got extra strength.
he
Like
didn't have extra.
because like she was fighting like the woman he kidnapped. She was giving her all. She was fighting him,
Mhm.
and he was handling her every time, even when she
He
would
was
get the
handling
slight
her,
upper
but she's still
hand.
not like a huge woman. Like I know she's like a thin woman. If any man in that series could have taken him out.
Yeah.
Because like the guy, well, yeah, all the men that he took out by sneak attack.
Mm-hmm.
Like he drugged Amir,
Mm-hmm.
and then the guy who was coming to fix the house, work on the house, he got him from behind.
Mm-hmm.
He toe to toe, he went to against no man.
Mm.
You got a little old woman who is frail and already scared because you got all this stuff on her, and then you got this woman who is, I mean, she's thin. She's not like a frail, weak looking woman, but she's
Mm-hmm.
also there's a size differential between the two of them.
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
I feel like any male in that house could took him out.
I just when she took to watch that man like attack her and then drag her.
Girl, I would have
I'm
already been gone.
gone. As soon as I like realized I could not open the door, and he popped up 2 feet. You know how like in Scooby Doo they're running and you see like the little that would have been me.
Hmm.
That would have been me.
Hmm.
I would have beat feet so fast.
Okay.
I don't care. Straight to my car. Straight to my car.
Hmm.
There's no way because you just don't know if he's capable of that. He's capable of anything, but you know what? Maybe she's desensitized because her husband's a pedophile and she knows it, and he's given her evidence of him messing with very young children, and she's like,
Did
oh,
nothing.
So
Did
maybe she's
absolutely nothing.
desensitized. I don't know.
Power and money is more important than everything else.
But back to our topic of grief.
Oh,
I
sorry.
know I went on a little tangent. No, I definitely went on that tangent because that congresswoman, like that situation, like really, really irritated me. But back to talking about grief. The last person I want to talk to concerning grief is I want to talk about Miss Nancy
Hmm. Okay.
and Peter.
Hmm.
So in the show, we find out that Alex Cross gives testimony in a murder trial, which gives a woman, is it life in prison?
I think so. Life in prison, but she ended up hanging herself.
Yeah, she ends up killing herself in prison because she is getting really, really abused. And her family, which is not her blood family, it's her adopted family, they're really upset with Cross. And you find out at the end of the show that they've infiltrated his life and that they're the ones that are stalking.
Hmm.
And so what Miss Nancy, who is the mom, is saying is that she is so grief stricken that Alex Cross took away her opportunity, said that she was broken and unfixable, took away her life and had her put in prison. He had to pay for that because she ends up killing herself. She lost her daughter.
Hmm.
Now, what we learned for the full story is the daughter never actually killed anyone.
Mm-hmm.
It was the son that killed someone.
Mm-hmm.
The mom convinces the daughter to take a rap because she thought because she was like a little young white girl with no criminal record that she would get like a slap on the wrist and move on. But this man was, first of all, this man was violently killed.
Mm-hmm. He was violently killed. That's a very
He
good
was
point.
extremely, he was there, like he was violently killed, extremely violent.
Mm-hmm.
So when
That's
she said, "Oh, they'll probably let you out in less than a year," was she lying to herself or was she lying to her daughter?
well, I think she believed that they would let her out in less than a year. The issue is more so that you don't think that this boy needs to be in prison for this violent murder. Like I do
Right.
think she genuinely believed they're not gonna give this white girl this with no priors a real prison time. You know, she just couldn't account for what was going to happen to her in prison and how she was going to present and how that happened. So I think she believed that she wasn't going to get any time. But it's like the issue is really like, but he needs to be in jail if he's committing violent murders. And I guess that's kind of a plot hole. So, like, if Deidre did not kill him on a date, which is what we were led to believe,
Mm-hmm.
why did Peter kill him?
I think he was robbing him.
You think he was just robbing? They never explained though. Like they never explained that. They explained that he actually did it, but not why. What is
I
the
just think
reason
that
that he
he
even
was.
interacted with this man? This is a random man.
I think that yeah, no, I think he was robbing him and he killed him.
They never said
Like,
that though.
no, they didn't say that. That's what I assume.
Mhm.
But
There's
I'm
no
sorry.
reason for them to be connected. That is a plot hole. There's no reason for him to be connected to that random man. Because like the reason why it's so easy to believe with Beatrice, because it makes sense that she comes from a broken home, doesn't have a family, that she would be on a dating app and this man, and then that would happen. That makes sense. There's no reason why Peter and this man that he apparently killed are connected.
But when
That
you
would even
look at like
interact.
the details that the prosecutor gives of the murder and like you see like them reenact the murder on the show with Deidre committing the murder,
Yeah.
I think the man was like tied up and stuff.
Okay.
That looked like it looked like a robbery. That's why I said it. I think he was robbing him because if you like take out the fact that it's a woman doing those acts, if you place a man in that same situation, it's giving robbery.
Okay.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But I don't I think the mom's logic of using the daughter was flawed from the beginning.
Oh,
I think it was flawed from
most
the
definitely.
beginning. But my issue is I feel like she puts an unnecessary amount of blame on Alex also.
Hello?
It doesn't make sense. Yes.
Okay, you just disappeared. The last thing
Oh,
that
you did too, but I just kept talking as if you were
okay.
still there. I
Okay.
didn't know you couldn't hear me. No, I was saying I feel like the mom placed an unnecessary amount of blame on Alex. Now, do
Yeah.
I agree with the testimony that Alex gave? No. I don't know. Like, it did seem extremely harsh.
Mhm.
The testimony that he gave, the way that he talked about her,
Hello?
it did seem unnecessarily harsh.
Hello?
Yes.
Hello?
I don't
There
know
we
why
go.
that keeps
Okay.
happening.
You said okay, you don't agree with the testimony that Alex gave. It seemed extremely harsh.
Yes. Like the way he was like, "Oh, she's so broken, she can't be fixed."
Mhm.
Like I'm
That's
like,
the only
maybe
line I have an
we
issue with,
could have.
honestly. And that's the line he knows that he shouldn't have said. I think that was just kind of a misspeak. But what I think he should have said rather than she can't be fixed, because I don't you can never determine that, she's not safe to be in the community is more a correct
Right.
line.
I agree. I think he could have said that she's not safe to be in the community. Why don't we give her some counseling and let's see if she responds to it? It
Mhm.
was like that's what I'm saying. Like to me,
I
the
don't think that's
testimony
what he
was
was there for though. It's like
uncharacteristic of him.
he's there to testify as to whether or not she can rejoin the community. As in like, do we need like be put her in jail or does she need to be in something else? Like where do you think? Or is there a possibility of rehabilitation? And so he was like, not enough for her to be safe in the community. And that's why I think the line should have been, and he knows that. He knows he misspoke. You know,
Mm-hmm.
he realizes that's a mistake. Like like professionals are not perfect.
Mm-hmm.
We don't always get it right, but like I think I think it's more so she's not safe to be in the community. And then yeah, there could have been some recommendations there as to what would be proper and safe for her. But he is also not working with all the information because he thinks that she did commit this murder.
Right. I agree. Also, like him, like, so Deidre and Peter, her brother, who actually committed the murder, are writing all these letters back and forth. And Peter's
Mhm.
like, oh, I should just confess. But why didn't you? She
Okay.
was in jail. She couldn't stop you.
Right.
If it was
Exactly.
really that important, like
Mhm.
Nancy and Peter are pulling this years long elaborate stalking scam trying to like really like
Mhm.
destroy Alex Cross's entire life
Mhm.
because they are grieving Dee Dee. But I
They're
think that
grieving
that's
the
not,
deed.
I don't know that that's real though. I
Mhm.
don't think that that's real.
Oh, I think that they are grieving. They're absolutely grieving Dee Dee. And I think they both did think that she would get a lighter sentence because all all the evidence that they have and their understanding of the police, again, it would make sense. That's what usually happens for girls like that. What they did not account for and could not account for is how being in prison was going to change her to when she got there. She didn't appear like the innocent, sweet little white girl. She was
Mhm.
the broken, what have you, because of what was going on in the prison, and they couldn't account for that. But I think it is both a mix of, because it doesn't have to be one thing. They are absolutely grieving the loss of her because both of them did respond to her in a familiar way, but they
Mhm.
are also both avoiding accountability for their own actions
Okay, I
and
think maybe that's what I was trying to say.
blaming Alex Cross, and hyper focusing on Alex Cross gives them a way to avoid the accountability for their own actions.
Because I'm like, if Peter, if you really feel that bad, why didn't you tell them the truth before she hung herself?
Mhm.
Once the first time she got punched in the face, you could have literally went in
That's
there
a very good point because he knew
and
that she
told the
was
truth.
abused.
But also, why didn't the mom tell Peter what she did? That she convinced her to go,
Because she knows her.
and confess. Because I'm like, why did Peter think that she went and confessed for him?
Mhm. She
Like,
thought
I
that she
don't
was going
know.
to have the goodness of her own heart. But they did have this weird kind of sick, way too close. You know what I mean? Like they
Yeah,
respond to
they
each
did.
other like they're family, but it's not in a healthy way either for
No, it
any of
was.
them. Because I wonder, and I don't think that this is addressed or stated. I think this is an assumption I'm making that maybe
Mhm.
Miss Nancy cannot have children, and that's why she clings to them so much,
Mm.
like they're her real children. Because it's
Mhm.
funny to me that she says, like, once they get to the cabin, she says to Elle, those aren't your kids. But you're responding to these kids that are not your kids as if they are.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
it's another example of if you do not grieve properly. But I think part of their grieving would be honestly taking responsibility because Peter killed a man.
Yeah.
He violently, I think they said something like he was it 17 blows or something like
I
that.
don't know. That's one of them times I had to be like, her hitting that thing. I was like, I can't.
So this is the thing. Like once again, let's say like they came up with the story that she was on a date. When you are on a date and somebody attacks you, you do not hit them 17 times. It doesn't make sense. But like Peter is the one who committed the murder.
Hmm.
Miss Nancy is the one who convinced Dee Dee to take the fall for the murder.
Hmm.
Yet they're blaming everything that happened on Alex. But here's the thing, she was already broken by the time Alex met her because she immediately started getting abused in jail.
Right.
And yes, they did punish the CO who was abusing her. That's
Hmm.
Brenda, who went after Alex with the blanks in her gun, didn't know she had blanks in her gun. But I just feel like I feel like they should have dealt with her death, the roles that they had in her death.
Hmm.
And I think that maybe they could have gotten over it by now because this has been a while now.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Hmm. Yeah.
I think
A
it
lot
just
of,
goes to
yeah.
show grief looks different on different people in different situations. But if it's not handled, it ultimately becomes like almost like obsession. Like everybody is obsessed with the person that they lost.
Hmm.
And it's to their detriment. No
Yeah. And
one like
nobody's
moved
fully
on.
living in the present moment. Like nobody is
No.
here and what's going on right now. Yeah.
And so I think that was really interesting because I'm it's very rare that you find a show that has like grief as a major plot point where that's not all the show is about.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like I said, I feel like grief was like the third plot point in the show. You know, but they weaved it in where it was Alex, but it was also other characters, and you can
Yeah,
kind of
the
see how
children,
right
their mom. Yeah.
it can rip your life apart. It can stop you from living. You die when they die if you don't move past it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because you stop progressing.
Yeah, like you're
So
stuck.
yeah,
And definitely Miss Nancy is definitely stuck.
she's insane.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Like, oh, also, I feel like she was already insane. She was insane that day she told her to take the fall.
Mm.
Because that was crazy then. And then the way that she was like, oh, they're gonna throw the book at Peter when
I've been off about her, yeah, before. Something
yeah, she was already, and that's why I
I
think
don't
she
care what
got
you do
so
for you to set
frustrated.
yourself on fire. She eventually sets herself on fire.
She does.
I can't never be that mad at me.
I can't either. I can't either.
No.
I can't either. And so like she gets so like that's what I'm saying. I think that like it was not I feel like to a certain extent it was not about Dee Dee because it was about her.
I think it'd be all of it mixed. I don't think it has to be one.
Because like she was like wanting to kill the kids, and Peter's like, "Hey, we never agreed to hurt children." She's like, "No, he got to feel what I felt. He's got to understand
Mm-hmm.
my feelings." But it's like, ma'am, she would have never been in that position
Mm-hmm.
to even be hurt had you not told her to take the fall. But somehow you've made everything about Alex Cross and about your pain, how you're so hurt, and it was you
Mm-hmm.
did it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. She got a little. I feel like a little narcissism.
I don't
I
know if
think
it's narcissism, but there's something off. There's definitely some kind of issue. Even like the way
she's a puppet master.
well, the relationship that she crafted with those two children, and we don't get to see a lot of it, but what we know is that it had to be unhealthy for you to be able to get to the point where you can convince this girl to take a fall for this guy that she's like, I have no choice because that's my brother, and then her repeating that line, family blood doesn't make you family, families who love
Yeah,
you. Yeah, there's
yeah.
something off about her. I don't think I'm ready to call it narcissism, but there's definitely something off.
It's something about it. Well, what do cult leaders have? Because she's giving cult of three.
Oh goodness. Well, yeah. A lot of times they are narcissists, but yeah, I don't know. I just don't feel like we've gotten enough of that, like to see it to for me to feel comfortable saying
Yeah,
that.
that's because you actually know the real criteria, and I'm just like,
Like
I
my
feel
God,
it in my
I'm
shoulders.
not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I don't have enough information. But
Right.
again, that's why Cross's diagnosis is wrong because he does not have the correct. And sometimes you can't help that. You've got her lying
Mm-hmm.
about being the murderer.
Mm-hmm.
You know she comes from a broken childhood because she has no family but this woman, and he doesn't even know this woman exists. Like she. So
Mm-hmm.
again, from his perspective as the professional, she has no family at all. You know, there's no
Mm-hmm.
support system.
I'm
And
just thankful no one has ever put me in that situation because the way I would have been like, yes, yes, Nancy, I will do it, and went to the police station and told them everything that Peter did,
yeah,
everything. The
yeah.
way I would have went up there and sang and told them that Miss Nancy was trying to get me to take the fall too, so can you lock her up for that? I'm not built. I'm not built for that. I'm not.
Well, and then okay, and then to your point, if she's cultivating these relationships, like people who are in some way predator, and I don't mean predator like as a sexual predator, but like you're preying
Right.
on weak people, they know who to pick.
That's very true. That's very because Ramsey did the same thing in the sense that he would find people's weaknesses
Mm-hmm.
and he would use those to like get them under his thumb, like how
Mm-hmm.
he found the lady who wanted to have a baby, which also I feel like that was crazy. And
That was one of the dumbest things I think because I'm like you like what's the point of having a baby? You're not gonna be able to raise it. You're not gonna be able to be here.
right.
And I feel like you, even though you might have thought you got away with it, you knew that was a risk, and so it does not make sense.
If you
So
were gonna turn yourself in anyway, why didn't you turn yourself in before you shot that man in the head? Because you like turned
one
yourself
day
in the
before,
next day, basically.
one day before. I can't do this. Let me go ahead and turn myself in before you've committed murder, and now you go into jail for a long time, and you will never see this child again.
Right.
And your child is going to be born in prison.
You honestly, if you had not committed that murder, yeah, you would have probably got some time. but not on the level. But also, and I'm saying this as someone who desperately wanted to have a child,
Mm-hmm.
like giving up your freedom to have a child
But what,
does
that's,
not make sense when you can just, baby, just adopt. At this point, why do you have to carry the baby?
mm-hmm.
If you want a baby that bad, like, this is going to sound terrible, there are a lot of countries you can go to and buy a baby.
Why you say bye, baby? No.
Because
But
you
like,
know what it is. You know, they're like, you can call, they call it whatever they want. They're buying children. You know, you know how I feel about international
no,
adoption.
no matter what, it does not make sense for you to go through all this work to have a baby that you're not going to be able to raise and be a part of their life.
Right. Right. And I don't care what she was saying. When she asked Tujon to be the godfather of that child, she was trying to be manipulative. She tried to come back and clean it up and was like, no, that's what I was saying because I knew. No, ma'am. You knew he had you dead to rights. And so you had no choice but to turn yourself in.
Mm-hmm.
But had that man not come, you would not have said anything.
You would
You
have
knew exactly what you were doing.
Yeah.
You were playing on that man's feelings when you asked
And
him to
his
be that
sense of
child's
right and
godparent.
wrong.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
like whatever. But yeah, I just thought, I'm like, man, that price was a little low.
Yeah.
A baby? A baby?
That don't make no
That
sense.
that price was way too low.
Mhm.
Way too low.
Y'all ain't got no health insurance at the
She said they used their health insurance. They used all of their savings, which
renew
I'm
next
like,
year, sweetie.
listen, you are trying to force your body at that point to
Mhm.
do something it don't want to do. Let it go, baby. Let it go. And figure out another way. There's a baby on earth that needs you. Go buy it. That's what they're buying children. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. You know how I feel about international adoption. They are buying children.
Also adopted somebody within the states and they're still buying children. Too. Okay, I will let that go.
You know, I did my research because there was a time where I'm like, oh well, if I can't have a child, maybe I should adopt. And after doing my research, I said I can't participate in this. I can't participate in this.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know. But and that ends our discussion on grief.
What did we do here? Oh gosh.
We went so many places. We did. I feel like we got everything that we wanted to discuss when it comes to grief. We just took some side streets also.
We took some detours, definitely.
We did.
But thank you for going on this road with us.
Yes, I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you have any questions, just send us an email or comment down below and we will respond.
Yeah.
No problem. But we want to see you in the next episode. It's going to be a really good one because we're going to be talking about Alex Cross and his relationships. And so you guys, you're not going to want to miss it. So we'll see you next time.
See you next time. Bye.
I'm ready for the next episode. I can't wait to get home and turn my TV on. I'm ready for the next episode. Got my slash shoes off, my remote control. I'm ready for the next episode.